contract, the biggest contract in at least U.S. sports history. Not sure about international, but hey, it's still almost a half. It pretty much is $500 million. There's some interesting nuances to it that I can explain a little bit later. But Nick, what are your thoughts on this contract?
So when I first saw it, I was just kind of blown away. Like, because at first they said like it was going to be around 400 million, and then they eventually said, well, total with what he has now and then the 10 years, it's going to be over 500 million. Which, when you think of that, it's like, is any person worth 500 million? Like, it's just such a huge number that you never thought would be a person's contract.
Yeah.
Like, I know baseball contracts have gotten into the 400 millions, but they've had super long deals too, and this deal's a 10-year deal. And this is the first, I know it's not the first, but this is the first 10-year NFL deal I've seen. I know there have been some other 10-year deals, I think. But, I mean, the question is for me, will this open a new wave of quarterback deals that are longer because of this 10-year deal? I know like Dak and Deshaun Watson are coming up with their contracts. Well, they now have a 6-7 year deal, which when before that would not even been thought of. Like, you would never say, oh yeah, we're going to give them a 7-year deal. But now with this 10-year deal, now they have chances to get huge deals like that also. For me, I don't personally like the 10-year deal for the Chiefs' point of view, because I think the injury guarantee is like $140 million or something like that. So if Patrick Mahomes gets injured and has like a career-ending injury, which I really hope it doesn't happen, but if that happened, they would be kind of screwed a little bit with their cap. So it's always the risk you run by having a super long deal like this if he gets injured, because they are paying him, once it gets to the thick of it, they're paying him 50, 60 mil a year by, I think it's like 60 mil in 2027 is what I'm reading right now, which is just insane. Like, if he gets injured in the 2027 season and he makes all of that, which I don't know, the cap, they'll rework it, I'm sure, to make it different. But still, they're going to be paying him a ton. And if he gets injured and he has a career full of injuries, it's not a good contract. But right now, I think they're kind of, praising him because he is the best probably player in the NFL, maybe the top 3 for sure. So they're really, right now it looks good, but I just look at down the line, if he isn't as good as what they thought, is this going to be good? Like, I know with all the like NBA contracts, when you have John Wall, for instance, in the NBA, he got injured and was out for 2 years, and the Wizards gave him like 40 mil a year, and they're just wasting all that money. Not saying it's going to happen with him, Patrick Mahomes, but that's just an example. Like, it looks good now, but I don't know about later. So that's what I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting contract. We've only seen it like I think a couple of times in like the last 20 years really, and it's been a good 14, 18 years since we've last seen it. I think Drew Brees was actually the last person to do it. And it, like you said about the injuries, is if he is injured or gets injured, Chiefs are screwed. I know there's some interesting nuances to where the Chiefs can back out of it. I'm not sure the specifics. Honestly, the contract is just a pain. I think I saw that it's like 117 pages long. It's absurd.
Yeah, something super long. Yeah.
And to an extent, it's a win-win for both sides. Mahomes gets his money. Okay, we can push that to the side. Yeah. The Chiefs are planning long-term, and I respect that. They're definitely screwed in 27, but I feel like they had to do at least that 1 year, 1 or 2 years or something like that. But I just see, I'm looking 4 years, 3 years down the road whenever they're having to pay him $40 million, and I'm already concerned about the Chiefs because they're going to have a lot of talent drop off. They're already dropping Chris Jones. Travis Kelce's probably going to be retired, or he's not going to be nearly as good. Hill has another year in his contract, I believe, and I think he's about to get paid as one of the top 10 receiver in the NFL. Depends on how you view him. They also got a bunch of other receivers they want to pay, and their O-line's not that good. We look at defense, and they don't have the best pass rushers. I say this, and they had one of the top defenses towards the end of the season. Matthew's going to retire. You're going to see a bunch of others. Thornhill's going to need to get paid. There's a lot of guys that are needing to be paid, and they're going to have to draft really well, and they have been. Also, we see Andy Reid. He's in his mid-60s or early-ish 60s, that 63, 64 range. And he's already come out and said, he's like, I'm going to keep on doing this, but I've already gotten to that point in my age where I am looking to retire. And I think it's very reasonable if he gets a ring or two, or a ring or two more, he's probably going to retire. I mean, he's got the, coach of the year. He's got that MVP. He's got that Super Bowl ring. He's got that Super Bowl appearance. He's got one of the best records, and he's already cemented himself, I think, in the Hall of Fame for coaching. It's interesting for sure. I think it's honestly a win-win for both sides. But I do see the flaws for both sides of it. One thing I want to make sure, or want to make a point of, is the fact that we all were saying that Aaron Rodgers was the GOAT a couple of years into when he was playing. And we were all saying that he is going to be. We were all saying that Andrew Luck was going to be. We're quick to jump the gun and try to find the next GOAT, the person to replace Brady. And I just want to remind y'all that Aaron Rodgers isn't even a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now. And no one's called him a GOAT or in the GOAT conversation in the last 3 or 4 years. And big money doesn't mean, it's hard to say. Aaron Rodgers has the talent, but I don't see him winning Super Bowls. Ever since really his rookie deals or his first beginning deals, we have not seen him really win that much. I think he's won another MVP or two. He's gone to the playoffs because he's that talented. But we also, he'll get to another Super Bowl or two, I guess, what I'm trying to say with Pat Mahomes. But don't label him the greatest of all time. Don't throw him into that conversation because he got this massive deal and everything. He's going into his 4th year. A lot can change. All it takes is one bad injury or a coaching change or something like that to happen. Teams adjust quickly, and we did see that he regressed last year. That's all I'm saying. He did regress last year, and teams figure that out, and teams are smart, and teams can now start keeping up with their offense. That's really what I got to say about this contract and what I got to say about Mahomes. Mahomes deserves, in my opinion, he deserves every penny of this. When you have a guy that was an MVP, made 3 playoff comebacks, is a Super Bowl MVP, won a Super Bowl, I don't think there's any reason for him to not, at least for the next 6 years, deserve $40 million a year. And then by the time it's 2027, you're paying him $60 million, 45, 50, 52 million. I have no issue with this, and the Chiefs fans should be happy because he deserves that money, and there's not really any other quarterback who deserves this much money.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't think he deserves every penny. I think it's too much towards the end. Like, I would agree for until like 2026 for him to make that 37 in 2024 or 38 in 2024 to 42-ish. Like, if he could make that every single year, like have a 10-year, $420 million a year, like, or 10 years, $420 million is what I was trying to say. If he made that or something, maybe, but I don't think once it gets bigger, like, and I have a couple points to make about it. Like you said about the talent that's going to leave his team. In just like 3 years, his team is not going to be very good probably because
unless they draft low.
Unless they draft low, but still they're not going to be able to bring in like anybody, like maybe one free agent each year because they don't have the cap anymore. Like when you pay a guy 40% of your cap or 35% of your cap or whatever it is, you're not going to be able to bring in too many talented players because there's so many positions. Like in an NBA kind of setting, like at least you only have 13 to 15 guys on a roster. In the NFL, you have what, like 50, 60? Yeah, 52. So like, you can't once one player has a contract that's worth $40 million, it's hard to bring in a ton of talent around him. And so all I'm gonna say is he better win a Super Bowl in the next 3 or 4 years. Like he better win now because later on, once he's making 50, 60 million, I don't think he's gonna win. I think he might win one more. And that brings my point to is it worth it to pay him this much if he's just gonna win one more Super Bowl? Like, yeah, he's deserved it for his last 2 years, but is it really worth it to pay a guy this much if he's only going to have a chance to win one or two more? Like, I get it. He has a good chance, and not very many players have a better chance than him in the next couple years. After that, though, you're paying him a ton, and he's not going to, like, he'll make playoff appearances, but he won't. I just don't think it's worth it to pay him later on. Like, I don't know. I wish they would just, like,
You'd rather evaluate like 5 years down the road
yeah,
instead of having to
I guess
evaluate.
it's basically the main point is I don't like this super long contract. I would rather it be kind of like Dak Prescott wants. He wants a 4-year deal to where he's 30 when they reevaluate him. So he could go somewhere else and the Cowboys could go in a different direction. Because once you get to an age, like I get Patrick Mahomes, he'll probably be as talented as he is now when he's 32. But that's not the case for most other quarterbacks. They usually have a drop off. For Patrick Mahomes, his talent level is so high that he probably won't drop off until his later in his 30s. But yeah, I think they should have not given him this long of a deal. Like load up his deal, make it worth 45, 50 million for the next 5 years. But I just don't like the 10-year because once the back half of that contract goes, I just don't think they're going to be good, and I think they'll be one of the bottom tier teams once that happens, just because the talent level can't. It's not possible for it to be as high because of this contract. Like I'm not docking him at all, but I'm just saying once that happens, it's just is going to happen. It happened with John Wall and the Wizards. I said that like he had this major contract and he's been injured, but they're still bad. And even if John Wall was healthy, they would still be bad, I think. But I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going. I'm kind of stumbling around a lot. But yeah, I just don't like the 10-year deal. I wish it would have been a 5. Is basically the biggest.
Yeah,
point.
I mean, I understand that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, is from what I was reading, is that the Chiefs have the ability to every year, I think until like the 5th or 6th year, to look down 1 year ahead and say, do we want to pay him next year? Do we want to pay him the year ahead? And they can't opt out of it. There's like some weird opting out ability of it. I don't know the specifics, but I think that's how it is. Is that like if it's 2020, I can look down. I have like a deadline that I could look to and say, do I want to pay up for 2021? And I can keep doing that for the next year. I think that's how it works. That's how I thought I was explained it.
So would that mean, I know you might not know this, but does that mean that if they don't want to pay him 1 year, like he's like just done, like he has to be traded, or like how does that work? Or they just not pay him for that year?
I think he can be cut, but he does need his guaranteed money. So
okay. Yeah, so maybe once 2027 happens when they have to pay him 60 and they don't want him, then maybe after that he could be cut.
That's my guess, is that they're around that 2027 mark, is they're going to look at it, and that's when they're really going to evaluate.
Yeah.
Because by then it would be 6 years more. Like, let's say they happen and make the playoffs once in those 6. Are you going to pay him $60 million?
Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's worth it at that point.
He's probably going to make a Super Bowl or 2 within that time frame. He's just that good. But it's also like, okay, let's just evaluate real quick before we schlep over 40% of our cap money on Pat Mahomes. But yeah, congratulations to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
That's their sort of a take about the Pat Mahomes. Thank you all for watching. 500 million, half a billion. Whew. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.